Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. Today's episode of Geek Tank Radio is brought to you by the National Wildlife Service's Just Say No to Drugs campaign.
No. No, you're supposed to give all the drugs to the bears, Joe.
Especially
the alligators want some, too.
Oh, no, that's an asylum movie. We can't talk about them.
Are there any that would benefit
from? I'm talking about for real. There's
Alan,
lithium warnings for alligators in Florida.
Alan, we are on Geek Tank Radio. We don't talk about reality here.
Yeah.
That's a big no-no.
Exactly.
But yeah, Cocaine Bear opened today, guys, or this weekend. Go see it.
Boy.
I think this is the most hype a cheesy B movie has ever gotten.
It's everywhere.
It is just hilarious. It's just everybody's talking about it.
We'll see, and I'm sure Brandon and Allan will probably watch it.
Oh yeah. We're totally down with this.
I will definitely be seeing this movie. The question is, am I paying $17 to go to a Malco theater to watch it?
Oh no,
I don't think so.
No.
And is it worth seeing on IMAX? I don't know.
It doesn't have an IMAX showing, but I would totally watch it on IMAX.
I'd want to see it in smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision. So okay.
No, I've smelled a bear. No,
thank you. We got almost a minute and a half out of that gag.
Well,
we
no,
can keep going.
We go a little longer.
This bear ain't over.
I think we're going to have an intervention if Max wants to go smell Cocaine Bear.
Okay. Anyway, welcome to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And I knew you'd react favorably to that sponsor, but I can't bring myself to watch this. I might when it comes on video.
Okay.
Once you've prepared me which scenes to fast forward through, because I'm just not big with the gory, and brutal stuff. But it does look pretty
here's the
goofy.
thing. The gore is extremely CGI and cartoonish looking.
Right.
Just from clips I've seen. So I think you could handle it. And there's so much humor in the midst of it all that I don't think it'll be too bad for you.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely a sit at home so you can pause it and walk away to the vomitorium if necessary.
Now, didn't Elizabeth Banks direct this thing?
Yes, she did.
Oh, all right. I was trying to make sure I got that one right.
I feel like the humor is kind of like Kung Fury violence.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
Just ridiculous, over the top stuff. So
well, and it's
Shaolin soccer,
and it's Simi's sort of kind of a legend back from the '80s, where a drug smuggler died in a parachuting accident and a bear got into his stuff.
Yeah, it's based on a true story. Well, the premise is
it's
based on
inspired by true events.
It's
you got to walk that tightrope line so they don't try and sue you for false advertising.
Well, the real story is actually more interesting probably than the movie's going to be, but
not really.
Anyway.
Guy crashed in the mountains.
Greed, animal abuse.
Bear ate cocaine. Bear dies. That was literally the story.
Yeah, there was a dead bear in the Chattahoochee National Forest.
He is now stuffed and mounted, and you can take pictures with him strangely in a Kentucky, lodging store.
Yeah, pretty weird.
And guess what they named the bear?
Was it Gary or something?
No, Pablo Escobar.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, we haven't even set the table yet.
I know, and we're getting natural puns out of real life.
Yeah, exactly. So,
what do you want?
Alan,
a guy died in Gucci loafers. What do you want?
Okay, hey, this is exciting. So, folks, we want you to stay tuned all hour because one thing that's coming up, we have a new segment we're going to do. This is brand new, right out of the can. Our working title at the moment is Legends in Geekdom. I can't promise we won't change the name or whatever. But
and I can guarantee
now, that's what it is.
From behind the scenes, this segment has been 6 years in the making.
It has. So I was texting you guys, and I thought, there are so many people in the world of geekdom, from the famous to the infamous, that need a spotlight, or it might be an event. I mean, I'm thinking of DashCon. I'm thinking of there may be things that were really highlights or maybe lowlights that we want to shine a spotlight on, and that's going to be covered in our Legends in Geekdom segment.
Joe, I will bring you a Diet Coke every Saturday if you promise we won't revisit DashCon.
Oh, I don't know. It's worth. People need to know about it. But today we're gonna celebrate. I'm not going to tell you who we're celebrating.
Okay.
It's about a person who is well known in certain circles, but not so much in others. However, her work. Let's
an
just put
unsung
it that way.
hero.
She's an unsung hero, and she's the property she's involved with is world famous. So, and also later in the show, I guess the Bad Batch. We just wanted to more or less skim lightly over what's happening in the Bad Batch season 2 because there's been there was something in there that I've been waiting for really for. I've
2
wanted
seasons?
to see it on. Well, not only that, I feel like there's other shows we could have seen this on, and we finally saw it. And not going to tell you what it is.
Nope.
We're not teasing, but Brandon,
Well, you're
apparently-
totally teasing.
We're not going to. Okay. Apparently, Brandon, I went and saw Ant-Man. I was mildly disappointed. There were a few moments of entertainment,
Right.
but I've moved on with my life.
Right. It's
Okay,
it's,
but what's
it's
going on in the trenches?
It's a fun
out there,
enough movie,
so-
but we now have people who are fighting tooth and nail over whether or not to love or hate this movie, and it's strictly based on MODOK.
Okay.
What, do they not have
And
a-
here's a spoiler, but
Do they
okay.
not have a Star Wars movie to hate on right now?
No, not right now.
Okay.
MODOK's always been a stupid looking character, but the redeeming quality was he was just pure evil and dangerous and everything.
Right.
But they kind of took that away from him in this one, right?
Right, he's.
They changed him.
He's a joke, and I
Yeah.
understand wanting to use a ridiculous character as your comic relief just to show how menacing Kang is.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of MODOK ever. The only time I've enjoyed MODOK was when Hulu did their cartoon series with Patton Oswalt doing the voice.
If you don't know who MODOK is, he's a head with arms, like baby arms and baby legs sticking out of his head. He's a stupid looking character.
People say that, but that's absolutely false, Joe. He has normal sized legs and arms. His head's just huge.
Well, whatever it
he's
is,
like
he looks
he's
dumb.
like got Galactus' size head.
And he floats on a
And if you don't know who
throne.
Galactus is, look it up. I don't
Yeah.
have time to do it. We only got another minute.
But
in this
people
segment.
are because there's people that have made a YouTube career out of hating The Last Jedi.
Right.
That really it legitimately launched their YouTube channel.
Which honestly, I'm sorry if your YouTube channel is nothing but negativity.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like the ad revenue, but man, your life sucks.
Yeah.
True.
Well, and it wears thin after a while. I
Right.
mean, I didn't like The Last Jedi, but I moved. Like I said, I moved on with my life.
Right.
And I feel like so. I don't think
Yeah.
Ant-Man's going to have the same mileage. Only though because it's launching Phase 5,
Yeah.
so maybe that's why it's a bigger conversation.
Yeah,
than it
it's
should be,
it's
but-
like guys, people are. It's just gotten to the point where people are putting way too much stock into our entertainment. When you get to the point where you want to send death threats at one another because so and so didn't like this Marvel movie or so and so loved this DC movie, guys. Sometimes you got to realize you've outgrown this stuff, and it's time to walk away and find a new hobby.
Yeah.
What did Shatner once upon a time tell him? Get a life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but that's how I feel too. But anyway,
It's just a movie, guys. It's just a movie.
funny you mentioned William Shatner. Folks, don't go anywhere. You're going to want to stay tuned for this. When we come back here on Geek Tank Radio, we're going to tackle legends in geekdom.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. We'll see who's laughing once the Velociraptor eggs hatch. The Geek Patrol is back.
If they hatch, Allan's already boiled 4 of them. You know, Allan,
Poached.
Get your-
Poached.
yeah, whatever. Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max behind the glass. And we are going to, let's just jump into this, Max. This is going to be a really cool segment. The working title we've got here is Legends in Geekdom. And if you're just tuning in, our goal with Legends in Geekdom is to shine a spotlight on either, it could be a noteworthy person, a noteworthy event. They could be famous. They could be, infamous. They could be a nobody. They could be somebody you've never heard of, but their legacy lives on, and they've become something of legend in geekdom. Today, we're going to celebrate a woman named Bjo Trimble, or as she was more famously known, Bjo Trimble, BJO Trimble.
Okay.
Let's just cut to the chase. She's one of the people that's credited with the woman who saved Star Trek. That's if she had a job title or if she had a business card, that's what it would say on her business card. So I want to just say this right out of the gate. She reminds me a little of our friend Jessie Gaston. If you don't know who Jessie Gaston is, she's one of the founders of Anime Blues Con, and she's been very nice in the last few years to help us with our cosplay contest. Jessie's a great girl. She's no nonsense.
Can you downplay her involvement anymore, dude? She runs our cosplay contest now, and it's like a well-oiled machine.
Oh, she is.
It only took us
Thank
10 years to
goodness.
get it to happen, but
She's a teacher. She's very organized. But she's got a great personality. She's really fun-loving, but when she needs to give you that dead-eye stare because you're messing something up, she's not
she
afraid
will.
to do it. So, but the reason I mentioned Jessie Gaston is because Bjo Trimble has been I mean, she's been in the thick of things with geekdom ever since a young age. She's a hardcore geek. We're talking somebody back in the 60s. Going back to the 50s.
Yeah, what was it? In 1958, she put together the Worldcon Futuristic Fashion Show at Solicon.
Right.
Which that was the precursor to your cosplay contest.
That's the thing. She was very good at organizing these costume contests and everything. And so basically that's how she crossed paths with Gene Roddenberry. So Gene Roddenberry he made Star Trek, and of course everybody knows that name, I'm sure. So, but
if you don't, what are you doing with your life?
When it was finished, he was very nervous about it. He was like, "This is totally different. It's a big departure," and he was eager to basically get a test audience to see it, and he also wanted knowledgeable science fiction people to see it. So I want to see, is it called Worldcon? I missed the name of the convention this was at. Whatever it was the big convention at the time. Isaac Asimov was one of their guests. They had this, if you were into sci-fi, this is the convention you went to. So he contacted the organizers of this event, and he said, I'll screen 2 episodes of Star Trek, this brand new show, and I would love to bring along some costumes and have it in your costume contest.
Yeah, it was the 24th Worldcon.
And Bjo Trimble. Now, keep in mind, nobody knew who Gene Roddenberry was. Nobody knew what Star Trek was. And so when she got approached by Gene Roddenberry at the convention, think about it. Like you said, Jesse Gasson. This was more of it was kind of a performance thing. It wasn't just you walk up, you show your costume, and you walk off. There was sort of a performance element, so it had to be timed perfectly. So adding 3 cosplayers to your list, that throws off your schedule. She wasn't happy. She's like, no, tell the guy he's
right.
too late. He can't do it.
I mean, it's the same kind of situation. You know what it's like as a contractor.
Mm-hmm.
When someone shows up and goes, "Hey,
by the way,
I'd like you to add this onto the job." Meanwhile, you've already bid a job that is supposed to start like right after you finished with this one.
Yeah. So that was her initial, but apparently he kind of charmed her, and then she started thinking about it, going, "Wait a minute, okay, well this may be a pretty big hit." And and apparently she liked the costumes and everything, and so she worked it into the cosplay contest. It was a big hit, and then of course once they screened the first 2 episodes it wasn't the first 2, it was just 2 different episodes. It was a huge hit. The fans, they said that what was interesting though was the audience watched in complete silence even through the credits, and Gene thought that the whole thing bombed.
It's like
but apparently this is they were reading the credits, they were paying attention, and then it was like a standing ovation when it was over, and they were raving about it. So,
well, I mean, you can't expect anything less from people as detail oriented as the original OG geeks.
Right. So at that point, they became good friends, and so now she had access to visiting the set and everything like that. So fast forward to season 3, at the end of season 2. The networks were actually talking about canceling Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. They were.
So, I mean, and so suddenly people like Bjo Trimble, she had already formed Star Trek fan clubs and everything. She organized a letter writing campaign with her husband, and her husband doesn't get enough credit for this. I mean, they always call it the woman, but it was a team effort. But this is before the internet. This is a big deal. This was not easy to pull off. So.
John had a secret weapon.
Okay.
John had a hand-cranked mimeograph machine.
Yeah, we think of that as like from the 1600s or something.
You talk about, being able to crank out letters. Mm-hmm. Instead of having 50 people sitting around like one of those, IBM commercials, writing them out by hand, he's down in the basement with a hand-cranked mimeograph.
Right.
And if everybody remembers how those things smelled, oh my God!
Nobody but you knows what they smell like because we were born in this century.
I know what one piece of paper smells like. I can't imagine what the whole machine would smell like.
Oh my! He was down there.
You have to wear a gas mask.
And
you have to cooking spaghetti. Yeah. She's got people stuffing envelopes. He's in the basement cranking these babies out.
And I just gave Allan all sorts of grief for being old, but you had to crank it 3 times all the way around to get one done.
Yeah. Right. I mean, in art class we use those and stuff. So, yeah. But so this was the definition of grassroots. They said we have got to save Star Trek. There's a very important thing too. Star Trek became huge in syndication, and there was a rule back then. If a show didn't make it 3 seasons, they weren't syndicated. So this was pretty critical. If you don't
Yeah.
get a third season, Star Trek may have been a footnote in sci-fi history, but because of their efforts, it was saved and it went to season 3, even though, let's face it, season 3 wasn't great.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder, did she do a good thing or did she curse us?
Right. However, there's a lot of intrigue that went along with this, and we're going to unpack that when we come back. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Drop the racing form and step away from the TARDIS. The Geek Patrol is back.
I already got my bet down. I don't care. Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And let's just move through this. If you're just tuning in, we're in the middle of a new segment that we're doing called Legends in Geekdom. The title could change down the road. I don't know, but so far it's working for us. And we're discussing basically an important figure in geek history named Bjo Trimble, BJO. Short for Betty Jo Trimble, Trimble. If you want to look her up, because she's a very interesting character. Her and her husband John, basically, they're credited as she's credited as the woman that saved Star Trek, but it was a team effort. It was fandom really helped save the show. In season coming up on season 3, Paramount basically had plans to cancel Star Trek, and that did not stand for them. They decided to form a letter writing campaign that really is almost historic in how effective it was. I want to say they got over 2 million letters written. They had this thing called the Rule of 10. It was kind of like a chain mail or chain letter thing. You basically write a letter and send it out to 10 people and encourage them to do the same. And apparently Trek fans are pretty devoted, because this is back before the internet. This is back before,
Well, John was also disseminating the information on basically how to beat the bulk mail rules with zip codes.
Oh.
So you could get them out cheaper. So, for the time, I mean, remember, we're talking about the 60s here.
Right.
They're using the zip code books on how to get cheap mail out there. They're using a mimeograph machine to crank out form letters.
Well,
so they went into full, as good as tech was at the time, full-scale production.
Well, here's the thing. She also had inside help. Gene Roddenberry was working behind the scenes, because he can't publicly say anything.
Right.
But he was behind the scenes giving him, crucial addresses. And he gave him all the addresses for people that had sent in fan mail and everything, which I guess might even be illegal. I don't know. But he... He did it, and so apparently it was hugely successful. However, the thing that interested Brandon was she went. Now this I believe is illegal. So she went to the NBC headquarters, which I think at that time was in New York, right? I can't remember if it's in LA or New York. I want to say it was New York. She basically was trying to figure out how to get into this place. She went there without a plan. But she had a satchel full of bumper stickers and flyers. So what she did was she noticed that the limousine drivers would park outside the gate, have a cigarette break, and talk with the other drivers. So while they were taking their break outside the lot, she snuck in the back of a limousine and hid on the floor. And so they went in, the driver pulls in, goes in the building to go get the passenger, and she sneaks out. Now at this point, everybody thinks she works there, and she's got nobody gave her a second look, and
you were wondering why security was so strict at your favorite movie studio.
Yeah, so she basically took bumper stickers, she had a bunch, I guess I Grok Spock and Star Trek Lives, and she put bumper stickers on every car in the parking lot, including Johnny Carson's. Which I guess wound up being mentioned on the show or something like that. And then she snuck in the building. This basically was infiltration at its best. And within days, NBC announced that they are not canceling Star Trek, that it's going to be there for another season. Like we said, if it didn't make it to season 3, syndication may never have happened. And who knows?
Nothing beats a well-orchestrated paper campaign.
I mean, it's impressive. So
it just reminds me of that line from Star Wars, "They're still coming through."
Yeah.
Well, at the time, you have to consider the amount of effort it really took to get this done.
This is a lot. This is flying play. This was investment in time and money and everything. But we can't run out of time before we mention something else. You know, the Star Trek convention didn't just that was not put together by Paramount or anything. That was put together by fans. And
Right.
Bjo Trimble, along with some other Joan Winston, lots of other women, helped put this together, and they organized the first one in, what was it, 1972, I think, 72 or 73, and their goals were, if we can get 300 or 400 people to show up for this, we can pay for the venue,
Right.
we can break even or make, at least call it a success. Well, the first one, they had 3,000 people show
Yes.
up, which that may not sound like a lot of people to somebody, but Brandon, 3,000 people in a hotel is a lot of people.
Yeah. Especially when they're all under the age of 12 and they're running rampant at a school event where you didn't realize this many kids were coming at first, but they're all there.
Well, they said they ran out of badges by Friday. They were out of badges. So then
they were giving you paper towels with your name.
Oh,
on
they
it
were
and stuff.
finding any paper they could find. Keep in mind too, this is back in the day. They probably didn't have a photocopy machine you could rate or anything. So
But
they said,
where was John's mimeograph machine, man?
Yeah,
It was
no
in the
kidding.
basement over there someplace.
Yeah, you can't just pick those up and carry them.
They
That
said
thing
by-
had to weigh
yeah.
500 pounds.
By the end of it, they had literally you had a paper towel membership. Like they would sign, and I wonder what that's worth today if you had that actual one still,
Oh,
I mean,
man, I would just like to see one.
yeah.
Just like under glass somewhere.
And it was apparently not I think they said all told they made like $87 profit or something. So whoever did the budgeting and scheduling, they were lucky 3,000 people showed up.
Yeah.
Or what if they didn't? Then
They
may not have made enough money to continue.
Well, yeah, but you think, an $87 profit back then for a first time for any kind of event right off the bat,
Yeah.
without any kind of studio sponsorship, that's actually a pretty good profit.
Yeah, but the second year, I want to say they had 5,000 or 6,000 people show up, and they lost $242. And
Not
then
hard
by
to
the
do.
third year, they started making
that
money.
means
but-
that corporate got involved.
Well, it's funny you say that because then after that, what happened was as we know, like we've seen, all the corporate conventions started popping up, and then they just retired because they were like, we're not in this for money. One of the reasons they didn't make money is because the prices were affordable, and they wanted it to be a fan experience that people liked. And
Sound familiar?
yeah, and it's funny. Imagine this ever happening again. This, back in the day, like Leonard Nimoy, they couldn't book him as a guest, but he just decided to just show
He
up.
just show up,
free
sing,
of charge.
carry on.
Can you imagine that? I mean, no, that's never going to happen again. But, Anyway, Bjo Trimble, you are a legend in geekdom, and she's still around, 89 years
Yeah,
old.
she and
so
John, yeah.
Hats off. Anyway, that was interesting, you guys. But
I like it.
When we come back, we're going to switch from Star Trek to Star Wars and talk about the Bad Batch Season 2.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. They're not afraid to call him Voldemort. The Geek Patrol is back.
I'll just go with Tom Riddle.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, boy, we had a really interesting. We launched a new segment that I think will be ongoing when we need Legends in Geekdom, where we're going to showcase, either famous people, famous events, or infamous, as the case may be, in geekdom.
I do think that the title itself is a little clunky and might need some evolution.
It may.
Maybe our listeners have an idea for what to call that segment.
Ooh.
How should they get in touch with us, Brandon?
Well, they can contact us easily at geektankradio@gmail.com or go to any of the locations where you listen to the Geek Tank Radio. Go on down to the comments, drop something there, whether it be the Facebook page or our YouTube channel. You can find Geek Tank Radio, all of our episodes, at least since we've been a Cumulus, over there under the Dark Oak Media channel. Just go for the subset playlist for Geek Tank Radio.
Well, Allan, you've really beefed up the YouTube page,
Oh,
right? It's
we
looking
have
pretty.
full bingeable podcast status now. We're just you can listen to, I think it's up 96 past episodes.
Okay, cool.
Hours and hours of fun.
I like Spotify too, but any of those platforms that you prefer. But yeah, check out all the past shows. You don't have to panic if you missed any.
And
of the
honestly,
show.
if there's one we're not on, you want us to try and hook up on,
Let us
send
know.
Allan an email and say, please put us on blank.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Max, you got a spoiler alert? I don't know.
I mean, I could if you
It's
like.
not a big spoiler.
I mean, it's
This
two.
is-
This episode was
Spoiler
two.
alert.
This episode was
Spoiler
2
alert.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
If you hadn't watched this episode, then
So we're
going to
talking.
spoil it.
We're talking about the Bad Batch season 2, and I'm just going to be real frank. The first season, boy, it one after the other. Every
Blew you
episode was
away.
interesting. I like this season, but I got to be honest. What did you call those? Brian,
The chasing shenanigans episode.
chase it. Sometimes it's just too much of a. I don't know. There's not enough depth. One reason I like it, people might be going, "Well, it's a cartoon. What do you expect?" No, the Star Wars cartoons have some of the
I'm sorry.
best depth and best writing.
Anybody
in
who
Star
tells you
Wars.
not to expect depth from a cartoon has never watched Clone Wars
Right.
or
Right.
Rebels or, I mean, even, like Forces of Destiny, those little shorts.
Yeah.
Because there's depth in all of that.
Yep.
Or even like Avatar: The Last Airbender, or any number of anime.
Well, yeah,
Sure.
but there's that balance between what people consider a kid's cartoon, like they do for some reason with Star Wars stuff, and anime, which is high art.
Well, you look at like Legends of Korra. That it looks kind of like a kid show, but it's not or
No.
anything. But anyway, the reason the reason I wanted to showcase, I want to say it's episode 8, maybe. I don't know.
It is. It's called Truth and Consequences.
Well,
Hold on.
the thing is, what?
Spoiler alert.
Okay, fine.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler
I just had to push
You got
those
your
buttons.
alert.
Spoiler alert.
So what we've been waiting for is the thing that's fascinating about the Bad Batch is it literally kicks off at Order 66. I mean, that first episode is Order 66, which you could say is the birth of the Empire, right? I mean, it's legitimately the birth of the Empire. It changes the whole dynamic of the way clones even behave and all of that. It triggered that whatever's going on in their brain and everything. So it's a very pivotal moment. And the thing is, at this moment in history, Palpatine still has to at least play the game that he's not just a brutal dictator. He has to at least appear to be a benevolent leader.
Right.
But we haven't seen him yet until episode 8, and we finally did, which was exciting because he came out. That's what I thought was great.
It wasn't something I expected,
Right.
but it's something that does the show justice.
Well, that's what we were hoping for.
Right.
Every time they show a scene in the Senate, I'm like, okay, when are we going to see Palpatine or
Right.
something? Because he's not there. But basically, he played the whole Senate for. I mean, who's that admiral that just, he got thrown under
Admiral
the bus?
Rampart.
Yeah.
Admiral Rampart, yeah. Because the basic idea was Admiral Rampart was trying to introduce legislation that would eliminate clones and bring in the stormtrooper program of volunteers. But aren't the stormtroopers brainwashed too and everything?
Well, I mean, there's the difference between having you're being genetically modified so that you can't disobey orders,
Right.
and just being gaslit into believing that this is the right thing to do.
Okay, because what was
There's
fascinating?
more of a actual mental manipulation with stormtroopers than there was with clones.
Because it just shows the brilliance of Palpatine's political calculations. Basically, this admiral had what he destroyed the planet of Camino, or he destroyed the clone base of Camino. It was this brutal act, and the thing is, he had clones helping him do it.
Right.
And Palpatine used that to his advantage and goes, it gives me pause because maybe the fact that the clones so blindly followed orders that were clearly immoral makes me think we need to introduce this new thing. So he got what he wanted,
Right.
and had the Senate rooting for him, and it just the guy's brilliant. I mean, he's a horrible human being, but he's about the
Welcome to
best
politics,
villain.
Joe.
Well, there's
You're
such
kind
a
of
thing.
rooting for him too because he's so awful. But
Right.
I don't know. So
Well, the better the villain, the better the show.
absolutely.
And they're playing not only their heroes but their villains out to their full potential.
Yeah, this was
And
cool.
And let's just say that's politics 101. You get what you want, no matter how awful it is, by convincing the public that that's the safest measure for them.
See,
And
it's funny you
somebody
say
else's fault.
Yeah.
because I think this is very reflective of the way politicians operate anyway.
It
I
is.
mean, I think
Yeah.
it's good lessons on to just not take everything that you see on the news or just take everything for
Right. It's, I don't want to use the word do your own research, but,
Yeah.
use your brain.
But so I wonder though, do you know how many episodes we're getting this?
16. I thought
Okay,
we were
good.
coming up with 10. I was worried that was going to be the cutoff, but we've got at least another 6 weeks worth of episodes.
Okay, because I hope we're going to get a little more of that because we went back, this week's episode was a little more of just kind of the
Just,
old
shenanigans.
thing, which
It seems. I mean, it's something we see in a lot of shows anyway, whether they be animated or live action, where the characters they've evolved enough in the first one that you are familiar with them, and it's like, all right, now we're going to let them have fun, and so often that usually causes a dip in viewership.
My hope is, though, at each episode this season, they're visiting a different planet, they're meeting different people, and they're learning more things. So my hope is maybe at the end, it's all these people become relevant and they come in. I have to believe it. We have full faith and credit, or
Like
full faith in
Wookiee Jedi.
Right, and Dave Filoni and all that. So I'm sure it's gonna be good, and by the end of season 2, it's gonna be a cliffhanger. So anyway, well, speaking of cliffhangers, we're at the end of Geek Tank Radio, you guys. Time to get out of here. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Ellen Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
And I am Brandon Olmstead, reminding you we all want our Crosshairs spinoff soon, but we're not getting it.